Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Elisabeth Stitt joining us here today. Excited to have her here because she is the parenting guru. She's a coach. She's helping so many people, families, of course, as well, struggle through, a lot that they're going through. Elisabeth, I'll have you introduce yourself, please, if you don't mind.
Absolutely happy to remind our listeners of what I'm doing in the world. My business is Joyful Parenting Coaching. I do support parents of kids of all ages because parenting is a skill. It's not something that we know how to do innately. We used to learn it in social groups. We used to learn it because we lived in big family systems and we had a lot of people around to teach it to us. But it was a skill. It was something we were taught. We weren't born knowing how to parent our kids. And today we have parenting coaches to fill in that gap because we're living further from our families. We're living in smaller family groups, especially with COVID, of course, we were particularly isolated. But even before COVID, societally, we were going towards living farther from our families, spending less time meeting with other people because we work more and the kids are doing more activities. And so, great. If you look at parenting as a skill, that means you can learn it. It means it can be taught and you can learn it and then you can go practice it.
Awesome. And Elisabeth, post off, I just want to get out there the spelling of your name and your website, of course.
Yes, absolutely. It's Elisabeth with an S. So that is Elisabeth. And the last name is Stitt, Stitt. So ElisabethStitt.com. ElisabethStitt.
Great. And it's Joyful Parenting Coaching is the name of her company. Again, based out of Monterey, California, but can help so many all over the world. And what did you want to talk about today?
Jill, I wanted to spend a little time talking about what it means to be an authentic parent.
Mm-hmm.
So being authentic is really about knowing yourself and valuing yourself and embracing what it is that you bring to the table. I 100% believe that your children chose you for some reason.
I believe in that too.
Yeah, that the child you got, the personality of the child you got, the order you got them in, that there's a reason for it all. It's part of the bigger plan. And I like that thought because it's very comforting. Because it means that even when I feel like I'm screwing up or I'm failing or I'm not doing what I should be doing as a parent, that I am in a relationship with this child for some bigger reason. And that there is something about me uniquely, which is of unique value to this child.
Yep. I believe that we are chosen and vice versa. By the way, as we continue the conversation with Elisabeth, please reach out to us. It's our new number, 631-205-6605. If you have any questions for Elisabeth, 631-205-6605. Please continue. I'd love to hear more about this.
All right. Well, I want to hear from you, Jill.
Yay!
What are your gifts as a mom?
I think my gifts are the fact that I like having so much fun like my kids. I really am into the stuff they do. Excuse me, it brings me joy. I like being that fun parent, but I'm also a disciplinary parent because I'm the only parent. So I am both, but I really enjoy the fun in it. And what I always go back to is, Jill, when you were little, did you like this? Did you want to do this? How did you feel? I try to remember how I felt as a kid. And no matter how cool I think I am, how much fun I am, my kids won't appreciate it now. But I'm like, yeah, let's go to the playground. Yeah, let's go to Hershey Park. Yeah, let's play the wrestling memory game for Family Connect night the other night. Let's build the United States on a map. I look back and I remember I didn't have that with my own mom. So I feel like I like that. Again, not sure if it's appreciated, but I feel that's my unique gift, that I kind of like having fun.
Yeah. Fabulous.
Yeah.
A fabulous gift. Yes. Right. Being able to rock it when you're playing with your kids is absolutely your gift. And you're right. They may not be be able to articulate it now, but I promise you, they're going to be able to look back and appreciate at some point that that's what they were really good at and what it gave them, what it brought them. And it may be that what it gives them is this capacity to see the world as a place of opportunity, as a place to treat the world as their playground.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I see you doing that in the work that you do, Jill, right? You are all over the place. Like
Yeah.
you are an energizer bunny. You've got not just stuff here on the podcast, but all over the place. And there's that excitement about what's going on, right? I feel it when I show up that I'm not, oh, here's another guest coming on. I feel like you are excited about seeing me.
I
And
am. I'm always.
exactly right. And
Yeah.
we're curious, what's the fun that we can have in doing that?
I don't know. What is it?
Well,
A
here we
lot. Come
are.
on. Yeah.
Here we are. Exactly. So I'm so happy that you embrace your authentic, playful self as a parent.
Thank you.
When is it hard for you to stay in that place of owning who you are and instead feeling maybe judged or less than? When's that hard?
Could we phrase it again? Wait, when is
Sure.
it hard when I'm
like, yeah, like I'm sure that as a parent you have times when you have doubts or
every day?
when you give yourself a guilt trip about something.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are some of the stickier places with your parenting?
Oh my God. Well, it's time management, right? That's always the hardest part because the biggest issue is getting the homework done before we go out for the sports. It'd be nice if we had a night, which we do maybe get 1 or 2 nights now because it's winter, a week to not do anything. But it's rare. Every week it's a sport. So to try to get the kids to do the homework, make them something to eat quick, and then run out the door, it's always a struggle. And they can sense my stress and they can sense the anxiety. And the older one, who's in second grade, does not do his homework well with me. It's a battle. Anyone else, he does it fine. With me, it's a battle. So I don't know how to change that, to be that parent, to be able to do homework with him calmly, or he just gets very nasty with me when he does homework.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm curious whether it would be possible to bring some of your playfulness into how we do homework.
Yeah, you're right. I become a strict sergeant type person. So wait, okay. Yeah, okay. Can you give me an idea, an example?
Well, sure. I mean, so for instance, we want to give our kids choice. We know that giving choice empowers them.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's the choice of, what do you do? Do you want to do this first or do you want to do that first? But one of the ways of giving choice that I love is to employ the adverb, right?
Mhm.
Remember, the adverb is how do we do something? And so you might say something silly like, do you want to practice your math facts standing on one foot or standing on your head?
That's a good one. We did spelling review last night because his test is today. That would have been funner than him yelling at me tomorrow, TOM, yelling. And I'm like, he's sitting there and he's yelling at me. Yeah, okay.
Right?
Not a bad idea.
Can you
throw the football at me and catch the ball? He likes football.
Love it. Yes, there's my playful mom
That's
thinking.
it. All right, cool.
Good job, Jill. That is fabulous. That is really excellent. So knowing yourself, knowing that that's your superpower. If you think, if that's your guiding question, how can I bring playfulness to those moments where I'm feeling tight and tense and regimented and strict?
The football it is.
Right. And the football will work for a while,
Yeah.
and then you'll need something new.
Uh-huh.
And then maybe it is. Can you stand on one foot while spelling tomorrow?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Can you stand on one foot, pat your head and rub your belly and spell tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Right?
I always have trouble spelling tomorrow. I'm surprised he got it.
Can you sing it? Right?
Tomorrow.
That would be another, right? TOMORR.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. that's such a wonderful lens now, right? And when we feel tight and tense, we get bogged down. That's when we begin to feel guilty. It's when we begin to feel like we're failing as a parent. And when the whole system seizes up, you know that playfulness is it's your oil and can. When you bring playfulness along to a situation, especially because your kids are still little.
Yeah.
They really are, they're getting big and they're looking so competent,
True.
but they're still pretty little and they're still essentially going to respond to the land of play. But for you moms of teens, they still want to be playful.
Yeah.
It might look a little bit different.
Okay.
But they still want to engage in that play. And I had my younger stepson was a very nervous little guy. Though, okay, by the time middle school, he was getting pretty tall, still very skinny, but he was nervous, and that was his energy. And I would hear the door close and the kind of thump, 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 which was his feet and the weight of his backpack. And I would jump out from behind the end of the corridor. And, he's an adolescent. And so his first reaction is like, oh my God, Elisabeth, you're so dumb.
Yeah.
But, then I would poke him and I would kind of bug him and he would throw down his backpack and he would start chasing me. And I would go chasing all around. And then, of course he'd get me and I'd squeal like a little pig. Right? And
so true.
By the time he went and he picked back up his backpack, the walk down the rest of the hall didn't feel like thump, thump.
It didn't.
Thump,
it was
thump.
like,
It felt lighter. It felt more like, okay, I can go do this. Like, world is not so serious. So playing with our older kids is important too.
Got it. All right. Interesting. Good to know. So playfulness.
Yeah, playful. I mean, because that's your superpower.
Right.
Now, some other mom might have been sitting in your seat and I might have said, what kind of mom are you? When do you show up best as a mom? And it may have been like, I am great at management. I am great at systems and routines. I am great at knowing and thinking in advance and having a plan for things. And that's wonderful, right? That's a fabulous gift to give to your kids. And, your kids may think you're boring and they may think you're a pain in the neck. But at some point, they are going to realize like, oh, there was always food in the house for lunch. We were never making a last minute, I don't know if you've been guilty of that, last minute grab in the store for something. Here, this can be your lunch.
Yeah.
as you went down the street. I learned to be better with time management, but it's not my natural state. It's not it's not my natural bent. I've become more skilled, but yeah, like if you have that parent who really is able to handle the big picture, keep all those details, not feel stressed out or overwhelmed by, you've got soccer here, you've got ballet over there, this is the equipment you need, oh, and we need to get a poster board for you. That would be another way of being a fabulous mom.
Yeah.
And
all right.
And showing up.
All right. What is your superpower? Just curious.
Yeah, I'm great on the playfulness as well. My daughter basically says that I'm good at the job that I do because I'm essentially still a 5-year-old.
Huh?
And in the childlike way, hopefully not the childish way.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, no, I love to.
No,
I love
that's
to
a
play as
compliment.
well.
I like it. Good. So, okay, good. Glad to know.
Yeah. And I'm very good at being present and empathetic. So a problem that parents sometimes run into is they're so busy running the agenda.
Yeah.
Right. They're so busy thinking dinner, homework, bath, bed.
True.
That they stop thinking, who's the human being in front of me? And how is my human being feeling? And what does my human being need from me in the moment?
Ah,
And so I'm pretty good at saying, hey, sweetheart, let's slow down for a second.
yeah.
Just come here. Come talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting quiet and really just allowing some space, like creating just a little bubble of time where we can just listen, and I can listen, and I'm good at listening. And particularly, so playfulness is one of the main ways that we connect with little kids. But with older kids, it's listening.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are listening 9 times out of 10, chances are your kid is doing okay. You spent the first 10, 11, 12 years of their life teaching them lessons
True.
and teaching them values.
Mm-hmm.
They've been watching you. They have a good sense of what you think is right and wrong and how to
Yeah.
do things. And when we actively listen to our kids and we sit down and we slow down and we just say, hey, Jill, so what's up?
Yeah.
And we allow for silence,
Mm-hmm.
which is, of course, really hard for people like you and I who love to talk, right? To just allow that silence.
Ah,
And then into the silence, well, it's like an upwelling of whatever is inside them, and it will start coming out. And the nice thing about active listening is we can't say the wrong thing because we're not talking.
yeah.
We are listening.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you show up to a kid and, well, let's just do this. Can you remember a time from like middle school, let's say, where, the sky was falling and your world was falling apart and you just felt absolutely miserable?
Yeah. Yeah. A few
Yeah.
times. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have that in mind?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can we do a little active listening here?
Sure.
Okay, so how old are you?
I'm
12,
45.
13?
The mic, I'm 45. Oh,
Nope.
back then? Oh gosh, it's so many ages. So I could say like 12. I could say 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seventh grade, 8th grade,
Seventh grade.
7th grade. Okay. All right. So 7th grade, Jill. Hey, hon, what's up? Tell me.
Oh, my parents won't stop fighting. The police got called again last night. It was stressful. Yeah. Hard.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Tell me.
Well, all they do is fight. They fought my whole entire life. So it's hard to can't focus, can't do homework. I blast the radio, I keep the door shut, but they fight so bad that the cops have to come, and it's just so stressful. It hurts.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't know how I would have said it at my age, but yeah, that's what was going on.
that was a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Always the stereo blasting, trying to drown them out and the fighting, and it just never stopped. That's why I moved out when I was 19, but still not easy for any kid, child, adolescent to go through.
No, no. When you think about your own kids being that age, what do you really want to make sure?
Well, I just
Did you
kills
see
me.
how quickly?
I don't want them to hear fighting. And well, that's why I think I'm a single parent and don't have a normal, well, I mean, I have a fiance now. I don't live with him, but I've always been alone. I had my children alone. Like because I was so scared and guarded that I didn't want anyone to come into my life and be like my father was and hurt, let alone me, let alone, yeah, future children. So I take on the burden myself. But
Mm.
you can't control everything, but I try.
So I'm hearing that, let me see if I got this right, that because of the chaos in your household growing up and all of the yelling and how hard it was for you to deal with it when you're yelling, you are extra dedicated to not having that show up with your kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
but it does. I mean, there's times that I yell and scream like my mother, to make sure they're doing something instead of saying it calmly. I'll scream, I'll yell, but I think all parents kind of do that. Yes, but they don't see me with a third party arguing and fighting, which I just would never allow.
Mm. So there you see, how did that feel to be listened to?
Good, thank you. Yeah, you really seem empathetic. I believe you. I don't think you seem it, but your
Yeah,
eyes, you're listening, you're caring. Thank you, because not just for me, but for anyone out there who can empathize or relate to that type of behavior in a household isn't easy. I mean, and then I always just say, well, someone has it worse. There's people who lived in houses where there was real physical abuse happening, or they were getting hit, and it wasn't their parents hitting each other. It was them, and it was like, oh my God, maybe there wasn't food on their table. So I put everything in perspective and I just say, okay, my parents didn't get along and they always were fighting with each other, but I was okay. Maybe mentally not okay, but I was okay.
yeah.
So I try to look for the good in everything.
And that's a great coping skill. And at the same time, it's okay to just
Hmm.
sit with and to acknowledge.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry
Huh,
that
thank you.
I know that it gave you unique skills and unique strengths.
Yeah,
And at the same time, I would love to have a magic wand and to wave it and to be able to
of course.
to
Make it
refill
disappear
that
and go
whole
away. But
scene
yeah,
for you so that there was more,
more
not
happiness, more,
not no conflict. We don't expect households to be
no,
without
but
conflict,
less conflict. Yeah.
but constructive conflict and
Hmm.
conflict that gets resolved peacefully and constructively. Yeah, I really wish that for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Really.
So I know we're about to end up here, and I would love for listeners to come and find me at www.elisabethstitt.com. If you need some help finding out and really embracing and appreciating the kind of mom or dad that you are, that's my sweet spot. That's one of my specialties.
Aw. And amongst all the others, give me some other examples of the other work you're doing, because you're working with the parents as well, not just the students or the adolescents, right? I mean, it's
No, and the work really is with the parents,
mhm,
because when we learn a skill like active listening, we can transform our family. We can absolutely transform how our kids are showing up for us. So all my work is based on 4 pillars: clarity, connection, communication, and
yep,
consistency. And so whether you're taking a one-off webinar from me, or you are investing in my 5-week course, or even in private one-on-one coaching, those are the concepts that we're going to come back to over and over and over again, because when you strengthen those, you're
yeah,
building a solid foundation for your children and for your household and for your parenting. And you're going to feel more confident and like you have a plan and you know that you're headed in a specific direction,
yeah,
rather than just parenting by the seat of your pants.
yep. Ah, thank you. Now,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
well, thank you so much. Is there anything in particular so you want before we go? We have 2 more minutes left, that you want to share?
Uh, well, lots of free resources on the website. I have a book on building self-esteem. I have an ebook on connecting with your kids, 50 ideas for connecting with your kids. And that one's kind of fun because in educational terms, we talk, Howard Gardner talks about learning through 8 different modalities. And each kid has their own style for learning. And so I've applied that to their preferred playful mode. And so like when you're wanting to feel really happy and connected, it's a little bit like a love language, but kind of extended from that. So there's a resource for that. There's an ebook on family meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've talked about family meetings, but maybe
Well,
we'll
we could
talk
do
about
that
it
next time.
next week, Jill, because that's
Perfect.
one of my other absolute favorite skills.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. ELISABETHSTITT.com, correct?
You got it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time here and we'll talk next week. Family meetings it is. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy your time with your family. Okay.
Thank you.
You're
You
welcome.
too, Jill.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.